Hey everyone! Today we're diving into one of the most loved stories of all time, The Little Prince. Now, on the surface, yeah, it looks like a simple children's book, but trust me, underneath those beautiful drawings is this incredible guide for grown-ups, a guide on how to get back to what's really, truly important in life. This quote, honestly, this is the key that unlocks the entire story. Right away, it just lays it all out. It draws these battle lines. On one side, you've got the world of grown-ups, totally obsessed with what they call matters of consequence. And on the other, the world of a world that sees with imagination and with the heart. So let's get into it. Our story kicks off with a pilot, a grown-up, of course, who's stranded, completely alone in the middle of the massive Sahara Desert after his plane crashes. And it's right here, in this place of just total isolation, that he meets this mysterious little boy with golden hair. And this kid makes the strangest request you can imagine. He just says, "Please draw me a sheep." And just like that, we meet the little prince. And what's so wild here is the scale of his world. I mean, the prince comes from a planet, asteroid B612, that's no bigger than a house. It's so small that he can watch the sunset 44 times in one day, just by moving his chair a few feet. Can you even imagine that? This tiny, personal little universe is everything he knows, and you can bet that completely shapes his entire idea of what matters. And on this tiny little planet, his only companion is a single rose. And she's beautiful for sure, but she's also, well, she's demanding, she's proud. The prince absolutely loves her. I mean, he waters her, he puts a screen around her to protect her, but her vanity, her constant complaints, they just totally confuse him. And it's really this complicated, kind of frustrating love that ends up pushing him to leave home and look for answers out in the stars. So feeling pretty lonely and definitely looking for some answers, the prince starts his big journey. He ends up visiting 6 different asteroids nearby, and each one is basically its own little kingdom, ruled by a single, really peculiar adult. And as you're about to see, every single one of them represents a different kind of absurdity from the grown-up world. So here's the lineup he's about to run into. You can almost think of it as a gallery of grown-up obsessions. Every one of these people is just completely consumed by one single idea, totally trapped on their own lonely planet, and focused on something that the little prince finds, well, completely bizarre. Okay, first up, he meets a king. A king who claims he has absolute authority over, well, everything, except his planet is totally empty. He'll command the sun to set, but only when it's already time for the sun to set. It's just such a brilliant takedown of authority for authority's sake. All this power with zero purpose and nobody to even rule over. Next, he finds the vain man. And this guy wants nothing but applause. He is desperate for admiration, but he's the only person on his planet. It's such a lonely and honestly kind of sad picture of a life that's built completely on what other people think. I mean, what's the point of all that praise if there's no real connection behind it? And then, well, then there's the really tragic figure of the drunkard. The prince asks him, "Why do you drink?" And the man says, "It's to forget." "Forget what?" the prince asks. "To forget that I'm ashamed." Ashamed of what? Ashamed of drinking. It's just this heartbreaking, vicious cycle of escape and denial, and it leaves the little prince totally baffled. The 4th planet he visits is home to a businessman, and this guy is just frantically, obsessively counting the stars. Why? Because he claims he owns them. He owns them by writing the number down on a piece of paper and putting it in a drawer. This is the perfect picture of the absurdity of materialism, right? He's so focused on possessing things that he has literally no time to actually enjoy how beautiful they are. Okay, on the 5th planet, which is the tiniest one yet, he meets a lamplighter. His orders are simple. Light the lamp at night, put it out in the morning. The problem? His planet spins once every minute. So his entire life is just this frantic, exhausting routine with no rest, all because, as he says, orders are orders. He's actually the only character the prince feels a little bit of sympathy for because at least his work seems to serve something or someone other than just himself. And finally, the last stop on this tour, the prince meets a geographer. This guy is a serious scholar, writing these enormous books all about oceans and rivers and mountains. But, and this is the kicker, when the prince asks him about his own planet, the geographer admits he's never actually left his desk to see any of it. It's such a powerful warning against knowledge without experience. You know, the trap of knowing about the world without ever actually living in it. After this completely baffling tour of grown-up logic, the prince finally lands on Earth, and his very first discovery is a total shock. It just shatters his whole world. He finds a garden filled with 5,000 roses, and they all look exactly like his rose. He just lies down in the grass and starts to cry because he's convinced that his special rose wasn't special at all. And this question right here, this is the heart of his crisis. If his rose is just one of thousands, what in the world made her so important to him? Was their whole relationship just a lie? It's right at this moment, this point of total despair, that he meets a wise fox. And this fox is about to completely change how he understands everything, especially love. The fox introduces him to this absolutely beautiful idea. He says, look, to me, right now, you're just one of 100,000 little boys. And to you, I'm just one of 100,000 foxes. But the fox explains that if the prince tames him, they'll need each other. See, to tame something doesn't mean to control it. It means to establish ties. It's this process of building a one-of-a-kind relationship through time and patience and responsibility until that person or that fox becomes unique in the entire world to you. And just like that, it all clicks for the prince. He suddenly gets it. Those 5,000 roses in the garden, they're anonymous. Why? Because no one spent any time on them. But his rose, she's completely different. She is unique because of all the time he wasted on her. He's the one who listened to her complaints. He protected her with a screen. He watered her. It was the responsibility he took for her that makes her absolutely irreplaceable. Okay, so as the prince is getting ready to leave, the fox shares one last secret with him. And this is it. This is the most important piece of wisdom in the entire story, and maybe one of the most famous lines ever written. Think about all those grown-ups he met. They could only see with their eyes, right? They were counting stars, measuring planets, but the fox's secret is that the things that truly matter, you can't see them that way. The uniqueness of his rose wasn't about her petals or her thorns. It was the bond, the love, their shared history. Those are the essential things, and they're totally invisible to the eye. So, armed with this incredible new understanding, the prince finally realizes the true value of his rose and his responsibility to her. And his journey doesn't just change him. It gives all of us, and the pilot in the story, this powerful new way of looking at the entire world. When you boil it all down, this story isn't really about owning stars or commanding planets. It's about those invisible ties that we create with other people. It's about the friendships we build, the love we give, and the responsibilities we choose to accept. That is where you find the real meaning in life. So what are the big takeaways here? Really, the book is a kind of call to action. It's asking us to question the super narrow priorities of the adult world. It wants us to appreciate the things we can't see, like love and friendship, things that can't be measured but are absolutely vital, and maybe most importantly, to never, ever lose that sense of wonder we all had when we were kids. And why does any of this matter today? Well, because we live in a world that can feel like it's run by those businessmen counting their stars and geographers who never leave their desks. This story is just such a vital reminder. It's a nudge to look past all the superficial stuff and refocus on what actually gives our lives true, deep meaning. And that really just leaves us with one final question to think about. When you look at your own life, what are the invisible essentials that guide you? What are those things you can't see, but you absolutely could not live without? What are the relationships, the values that are truly essential to you?